Laker Nation, this is your boy Derek James from the Film Room Podcast. And I know I haven't recorded a podcast in the last 4 or 5 games or so. In the last 3 episodes of my podcast, you heard me mention to pray for me and my family. And the reason why I was saying that, of course, because my family and I are going through a tough time. My grandmother, which I mentioned so fondly in my podcast, passed away over the holidays. And she loved my podcast, and of course she would want me to keep going and putting these podcasts out and talking about these Lakers and making jokes on the team and bringing light to certain situations. And if you knew my grandmother, you knew that she was an unbelievable human being. When people talk about the wisdom of older folk, they were speaking about my grandmother. My grandmother would always know exactly what to say, when to say it, how to say it. I mean, just the sheer advice that she would bestow, that she would utter, was God-given. She would know exactly what to say, when to say it, how to not ruffle your feathers or how to not make you uncomfortable about what she was saying. But she would always say the right thing. Not the thing that you wanted to hear, the right thing. I mean, she was undefeated when she gave advice. You know what I mean? So, Grandma, I'd like to give you a moment of silence on my podcast. And everybody out there listening and watching, just a brief moment of silence. Ladies and gentlemen, my grandma was a huge Lakers fan, a huge Lebron fan. And so I dedicate this podcast to you, Grandma. Thank you for being who you were, unapologetically. And thank you for all the years that you blessed us with your presence on this earth. May you rest in power. Laker Nation, it's been a little bit. And I haven't recorded podcasts, of course, because of the information that I've just given you. But also because I myself actually went into health and safety protocol. And it really dawned on me when I caught COVID that, you know, you shouldn't play around with things. I came on this podcast and I joked about being on the health and safety protocol list, and then shortly after, your boy caught COVID. What's going on, Laker Nation? Listen, I have entered the health and safety protocol. So I was out, I was down. I still watched the games, of course. But I didn't have the energy to record a podcast. It just kind of floored me. You know, rooting for the games. Of course, we've been winning. I know y'all been seeing that. But rooting for the games, getting all emotional and excited about these games, and then afterwards, I just did not have the energy to record. And also with my grandma, you know, it's just a lot going on. But Laker Nation, we are back. What we talking? Championship run, huh? What are we talking about here? Laker Nation, these boys, our boys, have been playing some ball here as of late. It only took them almost quarter of a season. 30 games in, hey, listen. We've been putting up numbers. We've been looking good on defense. So all of these little things that we've been nitpicking over the course of this season have now been smothered. Oh, the Lakers got to get, they got to get their defense under control. Hey, listen, our defense has been incredible. Oh, the Lakers' offense sometimes stagnant. Hey, listen, our offense have been popping. The Lakers have been on it, playing for a full 48. I love to see it. I'm here to see it. You know what I mean? But we got a lot to discuss, Laker Nation. A lot. I'm talking about the last 4 or 5 basketball games. I'm not going to shortchange it. We're going to talk about it all. And that's all coming up next on the Film Room Podcast. I'm going to just show you. Now, they said this quote came from Ja Morant. And Ja Morant, if this quote came from you, bro, if when we see you this next game, which is on Sunday at 9:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, if we don't spank the Grizzlies, man, on this game, if he actually did say this, I'm going to be very disappointed. I'm telling you that now. Because anybody that speaks this arrogantly against your team, the whole team should know. And the whole team should shut him down. Even if we hacking him all game, I don't care. We can take it back to 90s basketball on this kid. And show him what time it is. Hey, listen, bro. You know what I'm saying? Hey, listen. You're going to take this L right quick. Forget all this playing nice and being nice because we know you and we know that you're an awesome player. Nah, bro. You come talking this, you know what I'm saying? Oh, it's shutdown time. So we got to do something if he really said that. But ladies and gentlemen, I thought I was going to make this long, but I just wanted to briefly go over the last 4 games and say what an incredible job we have been doing. Incredible job we have been doing. Playing for a full 48. We're starting to get some continuity, and it's just like LeBron James said, the more minutes we log, the better we'll be. It's not time to hit the panic button, although I thought it was plenty times we should have hit the panic button. But LeBron James said, cool it, bro. We got this. I got this. I've been doing this for a long time. And he put the team on his back, and now the team is following suit. Everybody looked good tonight. Everybody. Let's talk about it. LeBron James, Malik Monk, Avery Bradley, Stanley Johnson, THT, Carmelo Anthony, Austin Reeves, Trevor Ariza, not so much. Dwight Howard didn't play that much. He played about 4 minutes total. Kent Bazemore played the garbage minutes. But everybody got off tonight. Carmelo had a great night. THT had a greater night. Malik Monk had the greatest night, and LeBron James just keep doing LeBron James things. Hey, listen. If we can get this kind of effort and energy every night and then add in an AD, we're going to be doing something. But what my fear is, ladies and gentlemen, is that when AD comes back, are we going to still start force-feeding this guy the ball? And watch our offense stagnate because we're waiting for him to shoot a shot. And I hope that's not the case. But I have a good feeling it is. But ladies and gentlemen, that is my time. So now, we're going to go into the post-game shits.
So no turnovers for you tonight. The team only had 5. You had mentioned after last game that could be a point of emphasis for you guys, but how were you able to execute that tonight?
Just make it easy reads.
Notice that you have a lot of tattoos in your left arm and hardly any in your right.
Strictly for buckets.
So that same deal?
1,000%.
Did you get the inspiration from Nick Young?
Yes, sir.
Can you walk me through like when you decided to make that happen? Like how old were you?
17.
You know, okay, and you've been adding to your left arm since 17, and you will not put anything on your right arm.
No, sir.
Okay. Do you remember where you were when you heard that Nick Young thing? How you saw it? Did you ever talk to Nick about it?
No, I never talked to him about it, man. I was in high school, just starting to get tatted, and I heard him say that, man. I'm like, oh yeah,
Okay.
it's my turn now.
I think you were 6 for 18 early in the fourth. What is it mentally that gets you to that point where you can rip off a stretch like you did?
Just the work I've put into my craft over the years. I missed a lot of really good looks early on, and my teammates just kind of just telling me, just bring us home, and when you get, you continue to get the confidence from your teammates, and continue to trust the work that you put in. You live with the results no matter what.
What kind of advice, if any, have you been giving Taylon throughout this stretch as he's been figuring out what his role is going to be, and how rewarding is it for you to see him have a game bounce back like tonight?
It was phenomenal. It was so rewarding. It was amazing to see Taylor be himself, or get back to himself once again. Just his ability to score the ball, his ability to get into the lane and finish, his shot-making ability. We've been missing that, and I know he's been missing it in himself as well. But just been telling him just to be yourself, continue to be yourself, and tonight he was that, and we needed everything he gave us tonight. We needed every cent of it.
Obviously, big defensive challenge this weekend with Trey tonight, Ja on Sunday. Where is this team right now, kind of on that side of the ball, playing small? It seemed like there was a lot of flying around, a lot of energy, obviously forcing turnovers. Just kind of how locked in on defense?
I think the smaller lineup is activating us on both ends of the floor. Like you said, we're flying around. We're executing our game plan, trying to make it as hard as we can on their star players, and I feel like we're doing a great job as a group. And we executed that tonight. I mean, Trey's a very good player, and he had 9 turnovers, and that shows that we did our job.
Avery, what's activated your offense to go on over your defense?
Defense. Gets me moving, gets me thinking, and I think it just makes the game that much easier for me on the offensive end. But credit to Russell Westbrook and LeBron. They're making the game a lot more easier for me. I'm able to cut. I'm able to, shoot open threes, whatever it is. I'm just trying to play as hard as I can, and whatever shots come to me, make sure I'm able to knock them down.
Avery, in your guys' last trip to Memphis, I think Malik and Coach Fizz were saying that this team needs to trust each other more, and it can't just be one guy going out to make play. Tonight you guys have 37 assists, a season high. What's changed in that stretch of games for this team and how they trust one another?
Yeah, I think it's being able to go out each game and have confidence. That's the biggest thing. If we can put that confidence in one another, I think the rest is history. And right now, LeBron is having confidence in everyone. Russell Westbrook, all of us, all the starters, were injecting that confidence into the entire team. So everyone's going out there and just making plays, letting their instincts make plays for them on both ends of the floor.
Avery, you mentioned the making plays. We're so used to seeing you spacing the floor, being more a catch and shoot with this Lakers group, but it seemed like you were taking a lot of shots off the dribble early on today, almost hunting for shots. Was that matchup based? Was that how you were feeling? What led to that?
Again, I think that's just me being aggressive. I had Trey Young on me. I know my job was to, make him work on the defensive end, and that's what I try to do every play down the floor. If that was me being aggressive with the ball in my hand, cutting, making shots, whatever it was, I wanted to continue to keep him working because he's a very good player, and try to tire him out as much as I can.
Avery, 2 years ago when you were here, you guys, dominated defensively by being so big.
Yeah.
I'm just curious, with this group, how different is it playing defense in this system? How much has changed? identity-wise and scheme-wise from what you guys were doing 2 years ago?
It's a lot different, but defense for me is always effort. The entire coaching staff do a great job putting us in the right position. It's our job to go out there and make sure we're watching the edits before the game to prepare for the game, and then going out there and playing with effort. If we can do that, I feel like we can give ourselves a chance every single night.
Just one more. LeBron became the 10th all-time steals leader tonight. Wow. 4 steals in the game. What is unique about sort of his sense of timing, especially when he's, guarding other bigs in the scheme you guys are playing right now?
I mean, his IQ is just unbelievable. He's talking to us the entire time on the floor. Him, Russ, Carmelo, all our veteran guys, they're out there talking to us consistently, and they're simplifying the game for us. And I think it's helping them as well in return. So we just have to continue to keep, having that defensive mentality, and I think we can, pile up some wins during this stretch of games right here.
Good afternoon, LeBron.
What's going on?
Obviously you sent a tweet this morning about the Kevin Porter Jr. moment that made its way around the internet, and there's been more on it since then with the announcer kind of explaining the mistake. And I just was curious if you had anything to add to your initial thoughts when you first saw the video and saw what was going around.
What was his mistake?
That he believed that his understanding was that, or excuse me, not his understanding. He thought in the moment that Kevin Porter Jr. was the son of Kevin Porter, who played for the Wizards, or excuse me, the Bullets in
the 70s?
In 70s and 80s, yeah.
Which is Kevin Porter, the guy who played for the Bullets, that's 71 years old today, in which he would have had Kevin Porter Jr. when he was 50. Is that what we're talking about? So, okay, so I stand by my tweet and I stand by everything I said. So, okay, let's just say he thought that was the case. So we get scouting reports on players, and I know you guys from the media, y'all get memos and stuff from players and stuff before the game, right? Y'all get like packets and stuff when y'all come to the game and what's going on in the games, right? And I believe that, I'm not a play-by-play person, analyst, but I believe that they do their due diligence as well, and they get their reports on teams that they're about to play, as long as their own team, right? So I was actually watching the game live last night when I heard it, and I waited. I didn't do it right away, as you've seen from my tweet. I was watching the game. So if that's the case, if I am a play-by-play announcer, right, and I'm covering a team in my local team. In his case, he's covering the Wizards. So he remembers the Kevin Porter who used to play for the Bullets, correct? The first thing I would have done, I would have said, oh, Kevin Porter Jr. is coming into town. Let me see if that's his son. I would have did that due diligence way before, and I think everyone on this call would have did the same thing. Tell me, am I wrong? Anybody? Okay, don't say anything. My second point. I watched the whole game. Not at one point did he ever reference, which he thought was Kevin Porter Sr., anytime when Kevin Porter Jr. was playing in that game. That's point 2. Point 3, if he didn't look for Kevin Porter Sr., thinking that was his son, I would have just been like, I would have looked at Kevin Porter Jr. and saying, let me see if this is his dad that played for the Bullets in the 70s. You would have known that. That's point 3. Point 4, what he said, no matter if he thought that I was his dad or not, was so insensitive, and the words that he used, that we know the words that he used, I don't even want to repeat it, is not even something that should be ever said. That's 4. And last, because you guys know that I calculate everything, last, me personally, when Isaiah Thomas from Washington State was coming up in the ranks, when I heard Isaiah Thomas, the first thing I thought about was the great Isaiah Thomas from the Pistons. So I Googled this of that kid in Washington to see if they had any relations. And I was like, oh, is his, I thought like for a second, I was like, is that his son? No. Well, come to find out, I did my research. His dad, Magic Johnson fan, lost a bet during the finals, and his best friend said if they lose to the Pistons, you got to name your son Isaiah Thomas. Go further, I played against a guy early in my career named Mike James. They played for the Raptors. They played for a lot of teams. And then Mike James, that's just been in and out of the league over the last few years, same name. I actually looked that up and thought, do they have any resemblance? Do they have any relations? No, they don't. This is not just like in basketball. This is in multiple sports. Patrick Surtain Jr., that's now with the Broncos. I did my due diligence on that. I was like, oh, wow, that's the great Patrick Surtain. That's his son. Ashanti Samuels, that's here, local, that plays for the Chargers, Jr. Oh, his dad was a monster with the Eagles. But I did my research. And Marvin Harrison Jr., that's at Ohio State right now, I had to go and make sure that was the great Marvin Harrison that we know from Peyton Manning and Marvin Harrison all those years. Is that his son? I don't want to hear that excuse. Could he have made a mistake? Absolutely. But in our job, in our field, as professionals, we are in a professional league, you got to do your due diligence and do your job all the way to the point where, why did he even say that at the end of that game anyways, those words? So I'm not taking back nothing I said. Nothing at all. I think I explained that pretty good.
Bill, do you have a follow-up?
I suppose, yeah. So LeBron, I was wondering if you saw Kevin Love's follow-up tweet, and if you kind of come down on it a different side from what Kevin said. Did you see it?
No, I didn't. I'm sorry. What did he say?
Do you mind if I read to you real quick?
Yeah, go ahead.
He said, after the statement came out from Glenn Consler, he said, healthy discussion to be had here. Context is everything. I know Glenn is well respected within the league. Our blink reaction as players was to protect one of our own.
And we're gonna continue to protect our players. And I'm not taking the respect factor is there. And they said he's supposed to be a very smart guy, right? Is that what everybody's saying? The guy's a very smart guy. So if you're a very smart guy, I believe you should be able to do your homework on situations. We're not talking about him saying something about me or saying something about I'm gonna just speak from my point. We already, the kid Kevin Porter Jr. has already been placed with a label in this league already. And we don't know what can trigger. We don't know what triggers can happen at all. So if you're doing your homework on any one of these kids that's in this league, that word that he used for that kid to make that game-winning shot, that sentence that he used, no matter if he knew if that was his dad or not, should have never been used in the first place. Never been used. And if you go and just look at if you know the history of this kid's dad, you can't sit here and tell me that those words, it's just a direct correlation. Come on, God. Come on. I'm not saying that this guy, I never met the guy. I don't know him. I pray for him, like I said in my tweet. But I can't let that ride on the behalf of a kid that looks up to me. Kevin Porter Jr. looks up to me, and it's my obligation to make sure that he knows that he has my back. That I have his back. That's just a simple fact.
Kyle?
LeBron, I want to change subject. It is an interesting subject, but I do have a different question here.
I can answer any question. I'm
Yeah,
I'm good. Don't worry about it. It's fine.
Really interesting discussion. But just, I think just with your play recently, it seems like you're making a case to kind of be included again in the MVP discussion. Does that matter to you at this point in your career? Does it matter more? Does it matter less that your achievements are up there with the best of some of your peers in the NBA?
Well, I think when you are placed in the MVP conversation, that means that your team is winning games, and you're playing at a level that's helping to win games. So, if my name continues and my name starts to be in the MVP conversation, then I'm happy about it in the sense that that means the Lakers are winning basketball games, and that's what I want. That's all I care about. I know what I bring to the table every night. I know what I'm capable of doing every night, but I want that to result in wins, and that's just always been my mindset in this league.
Dave?
Well, I'd like to get back to that conversation. I find it interesting also. I'm just curious, when you were saying no place in the game, is that you calling for his job?
No, I'm just saying. No, I'm not calling for his job. I don't. He's not my employee.
Okay.
I have enough employees. I got 145 employees at Spring Hill. I got to worry about those guys. He's not my employee. I'm saying, if we're in a profession where it is your job to do your due diligence. We got enough people out here that's giving false narratives and false statements we got enough of that. But in our game, in our integrity, in the NBA, the 30 teams, the beat writers, the players, the coaches, the play-by-play guy, it is our job to make sure we do the best to our ability to speak the facts. It can't be. Sometimes you don't have the ability to have a slip up, and you can make mistakes and come back from. But sometimes you don't have the right to have a slip up. I believe that was a slip up. Not saying I'm calling for his job, because I'm not, but that was a slip up. And sometimes we hear the word "I apologize," and we just move the hell on. We just move on. Oh, he apologized. We move on. She apologized. We move on. Oh, we just move on quickly. I just don't. I don't always see it that way. But I'm not calling for his job. I'm not calling for his job.
I just wanted to clarify that. And obviously, you're justified in your stance. I know you have subscribed to the notion of progress over pride in the past.
Absolutely.
Could this be a growing moment? For Glenn and even for Kevin, even though he didn't do anything to have his name involved there.
Nah, Kevin, that was the greatest moment for that kid in his young NBA career so far. Why are we talking about this?
Right.
Why are we talking about this? Like, this kid made a game-winning step-back three. Why are we talking about this? It's unfortunate that this kid, who literally was sent home not a couple days ago, we paint pictures over this kid already, and now he has to deal with this. Come on, it has to be more. It has to be more accountability. That's all.
Yep.
I mean, pride over progress. It took me years. I already know about it. Progress over pride. Yeah, it took me years to get to that. But I'm not 21 anymore either. I'm 37. This kid's 21 years old. We at 21.
You mentioned your age this time, not me.
Yeah, I know, right? But at 21, you don't have the mental capacity sometimes to take progress over pride. You do not. None of us at 21.
Last question, BT.
Ladies and gentlemen, Laker Nation, if you can, man, like and subscribe to these videos. My grandma loved them. And Grandma, if you're listening, I love you. I'm going to miss you dearly. Watch these Lakers from up high and see what we do. I love you, Grandma. Laker Nation, you have been a beautiful crowd, and I have been a beautiful host. My name is Derek James, and you've been tuned into the Film Room Podcast. And if you know me, you know what I'm going to say. And I'm out this bit.